All right, welcome. If you're working with sequence data, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into some powerful variations of LSTMs and, more importantly, how to get the absolute best performance out of them.
So you know about long short-term memory networks, LSTMs, right? They are absolutely fantastic at remembering information over long stretches, which, as you know, is a huge headache for standard recurrent neural networks. Okay, so LSTMs are super powerful, no question. But let's be honest, their architecture can get pretty complicated. And that leads to a really natural question. Is there maybe a simpler, more efficient way to get these kinds of results?
That is an excellent question, and the answer is a resounding yes. Let's get right into it and talk about a really popular and powerful alternative called the gated recurrent unit, or GRU for short.
So what exactly is a GRU? Well, you can think of it as the LSTM's cousin. It was designed to tackle the exact same long-term memory problems, but it does it in a much more efficient way. And the secret sauce is really just its simpler design. So how does it actually pull off this simplification? It's pretty clever, really. It basically does two smart things. First, it takes the forget and input gates from an LSTM and just merges them into one single update gate. Then it combines the cell state and the hidden state. The end result? A much lighter model that needs fewer calculations to run.
And that, of course, brings us to the main event, the big showdown between the LSTM and the GRU. Okay, so if the GRU is simpler and more efficient, that leads to probably the most important practical question you're going to have. For my project, when should I use an LSTM, and when is a GRU the right call? If we look at the trade-offs in their architecture, the difference becomes pretty clear. An LSTM just has more moving parts, all these different gates, separate states, which makes it more complex. The GRU, on the other hand, is way more streamlined. But here's the real punchline, the thing you really need for your day-to-day work. The general rule of thumb is that LSTMs tend to do a little better on really large datasets, where all that complexity can actually help capture more intricate patterns. GRUs, however, often shine on smaller datasets, where you're worried about overfitting and you really care about training speed. Okay, so you've picked your model. Awesome. But choosing the architecture is only half the battle. Now, let's talk about tuning it for peak performance. Right, so that helps clear up which model to choose. But no matter which one you go with, the next step is absolutely crucial for getting great results. You've got to tune it. So what are the main levers you can pull to really optimize your network? You know, tuning is kind of an art form, but it almost always revolves around these 5 key things. You've got the depth and width of your network. That's your hidden layers and units. The learning rate is like the gas pedal. It controls how fast the model learns. Dropout rate is a really clever trick to prevent overfitting. It basically forces the network to be more robust. And finally, the number of iterations, or epochs, is just how many times the model gets to see your entire dataset. So, to sum it all up, the decision between an LSTM and a GRU isn't really about one being definitively better. It's all about which one is better for your specific dataset and your computational budget. And once you've made that choice, careful tuning is what's going to unlock its true potential. We've covered the tools, we've covered the techniques. The only real question left is, what cool problems are you going to solve with them? Hey, if this explanation helped you out, please do me a favor and hit like, share it with someone, and subscribe for more insights just like this. Thanks for watching.